Two people, both exactly the same age, both earning roughly the same paycheck their entire careers. One of them opens their 401k statement and feels a quiet, settled calm. The other one opens the exact same kind of statement and feels a cold wave of panic crawl up their spine. Same age, same income, same number of working years behind them. The only thing that is different is one number. And whether that number is comfortably ahead of where it should be, or quietly, dangerously behind. And here is the strange part. Almost nobody actually knows what their 401k is even supposed to look like at their age. So they just guess. They compare themselves to a coworker who might be lying, or a scary headline, or to absolutely nothing at all. Today we fix that completely. I am going to give you the exact number you should have saved at every age, and then show you precisely what to do about it, whether you turn out to be ahead or behind. Meet Greg and Dana. Both of them are 45 years old, and both earn around $70,000 a year. Dana has quietly built up about $280,000 in her 401k. Greg, same age, same salary, has around $60,000. Same starting line, same paycheck, and yet two completely different futures are already taking shape underneath them. By the end of this, you will know exactly which one of these two you are closer to, and far more importantly, what to actually do about it starting today. So here is the simple rule that the experts actually use, and it is not what most people expect. It is not a flat dollar amount that is the same for everyone. It is a multiple of your own salary, because somebody earning $50,000 a year needs a very different pile than somebody earning $150,000. So every target we talk about is built as a multiple of whatever you personally earn. Hold on to that idea as we climb the ladder, age by age. Start at age 30. By 30, the target is to have roughly 1 times your salary already saved. So if you earn $60,000, you are aiming for about $60,000 sitting in your account. And here is the truth. Most people are nowhere close to this, and that is genuinely okay, because 30 is early, and the real magic has not even begun yet. Hitting 1 times your income by 30 simply means you successfully started the engine. By age 40, that target climbs to around 3 times your salary. On that same $60,000 income, that means about $180,000 saved. And this is exactly where the quiet gap between the savers and the spenders starts to become visible for the first time. 10 years of compounding has already done a real piece of the work, but only, and this matters, for the people who actually fed the account every single month. By age 50, you are aiming for roughly 6 times your annual salary. That is around $360,000 on a $60,000 income. And this is the decade where being ahead or behind stops feeling abstract and suddenly gets very, very real. Because retirement is no longer some distant rumor you can ignore. It is close enough now that you can almost see it from where you are standing. By age 60, the target rises to about 8 times your salary. And then, by your full retirement age, somewhere around 67, the goal is to have roughly 10 times your annual income saved up. 10 times. That is the number that, sitting alongside your Social Security, actually lets you stop working and confidently stay stopped, without that constant fear humming in the background. And there is one quiet catch hidden inside these targets that trips almost everyone up. They quietly assume your salary keeps climbing across your whole career, which means the later milestones actually get harder, not easier, because the number you are chasing keeps rising with every single raise you earn. That is exactly why building the habit early matters so much more than the size of any one contribution. The rate is the thing you control. The number just quietly follows along behind it. Quick, honest note before we go on. None of this is financial advice. It is just the general guideline the math tends to point at. Your income, your plans, and your situation are entirely your own. Now, back to Greg and Dana, because their two numbers suddenly mean a lot more than they did a minute ago. So, look at the two of them again, now with real eyes. At 45, the rough target sits somewhere between 3 and 4 times their $70,000 salary. Call it around $250,000. Dana, sitting at $280,000, is comfortably ahead of the curve. Greg, sitting at just $60,000, is dramatically behind, parked closer to where he honestly should have been back in his early 30s. And on paper, in that single frozen moment, it really looks like Greg has already lost the whole game. But here is what almost nobody ever bothers to tell Greg. Being behind at 45 is far, far more fixable than it actually feels, and for two powerful reasons working quietly in his favor. First, he still has more than 20 years of compounding left, and the final decade of compounding does the single heaviest lifting of the entire journey. Second, the moment he turns 50, he unlocks catch-up contributions, the legal ability to stuff thousands of extra dollars into his 401k every single year. Greg is behind, yes, but Greg is absolutely nowhere near finished. So Greg does the only thing that genuinely works. He raises his contribution rate hard, pushing for 15% of his income or more. He grabs every single dollar of his employer match, which is literally free money he had been quietly leaving on the table for years. And then he lets the next 2 decades compound relentlessly. Will he perfectly hit 10 times his salary by 67? Probably not. But he can absolutely drag himself from a frightening retirement to a genuinely comfortable one, simply by acting right now, instead of waiting until he is 55 and panicking. And here is the quiet warning for Dana, the one who is sitting comfortably ahead. Being ahead can secretly create the most dangerous feeling of all, which is comfort. Some people see a big, reassuring number at 45, so they ease off the gas, they stop pushing, and they let lifestyle creep slowly eat the entire lead they worked so hard to build. Being ahead is only worth something if you actually keep going. That number on the screen is not the finish line. It is just quiet proof that the system is working. Dana's only real job now is to not get comfortable and accidentally turn back into Greg. So the real takeaway here is not to panic over a single number on a single random day. It is to know your actual target, to see clearly and honestly whether you are ahead or behind, and then to do the one single thing that genuinely moves the needle in either direction, which is calmly raising how much of every paycheck you save. The age printed on your birth certificate matters far, far less than the contribution rate you choose to set this month. So go pull up your own 401k right now, take your salary, and find your personal multiple. Are you quietly ahead, or are you secretly behind? Tell me in the comments. Just type your age and whether you feel ahead or behind, because I genuinely want to see where everybody really stands. And if you want the next breakdown, the one on exactly how to catch up fast when you have started late, it is waiting for you right now. I read every single one.